Hi, I'm Krista West of Avlia Folk Embroidery, and this is another floss tube. This is the September floss tube. And I'm just going to give you a little heads up that maybe I'm a little smidge more scattered than usual today. So, not really totally sure what we're going to cover or talk about, but we'll figure it out as we go. The last few weeks have been very, very busy. I'm really excited about that it's been so busy. But it's been busy because of my two articles coming out in two national magazines. So my article on stitching as a wellness practice came out in Taproot magazine's issue called Fable in August. And that was quickly followed by my article, oh my word, see, I'm even having trouble remembering it, in Living Color, The Vibrant World of Greek Folk Embroidery, coming out in the Embroider Guild of America publication, Needle Arts. Super awesome. It was really great. And then right on the heels of that, I was just sort of winding that up, and I had all the kits made, and I was feeling totally on top of the world, and yes. And then actually, this was another opportunity fell in my lap that was super exciting, and that was Just Cross Stitch magazine asked me to design for 2 of their issues next year, which was really exciting. Just Cross Stitch has a readership of 60,000. So that was just a really great way to kind of spread the word about Avlea. And so I designed a really beautiful Pascha basket cover, an Easter basket cover for them that will be out in their April issue, which releases, I believe it's like February 21st. And I had to sample stitch like mad. I actually was really proud of myself. I sample stitched almost 10,000 stitches in like 2.5 weeks. Kind of a personal best. I would love to show you the sample, but I don't have it, because it's off to Just Cross Stitch. But it's really pretty. It's a 8-pointed star and cross design, and it's worked in 2 tones of red. It's worked in the really bright reds. It's the 349 bright coral and the 347 also kind of a coral color in DMC. And I worked it on Legacy Linen's Swan Feather 30 count. So that's going to be coming out next spring, and I was really excited. And I just found out this morning, I think I just found out, see, I'm even losing track of my days. I just found out that when the design releases in Just Cross Stitch, I'm allowed to release it on the Avlia website. I thought there was a 6-month waiting period, but it looks like they've changed that, which is really exciting. So I'll be able to offer that Pascha basket kit in February, which is really exciting. The second design I did for them was really a fun one. I've had this little motif kind of in my design folder for the longest time, and it's sort of like a stylized little sunflower, and it's really beautiful. And so that's going to be the Athenian sunflowers little design. It's basically, if you're familiar with my bit kit designs, it's like one of those, and it's worked in yellows and greens. It's really pretty. So it's in the DMC 676. The color palette is so pretty and fresh. I just had a ton of fun working the sample. So I finished stitching that one up. And then within days of that happening, I had 3 of my sample stitchers who have literally had projects for almost a year now. Okay, one of them super fast. She's only had it for like 3 months. But still, they all turned in stuff within like a week of each other. So then I was madly hem stitching. So it's been really busy, and I'm really excited about that. And also, more and more people, more shops are ordering through the Avlia wholesale website, which is really exciting. Oh, and along those lines, very soon, hopefully within about a month or 2, I'm going to be offering quantity pricing to my retail customers through the Avlia wholesale website. I'm just waiting for one last plugin on the website that we need before we can launch that. But stay tuned for that. I wanted to offer that for people who wanted to order for their EGA chapter, where they were going to order, everybody was going to go in and order a bunch of kits. For people who want to carry Avlia in their church bookstore, or even for people who want to do fundraising. I thought that would actually be such a cool fundraiser. Like, buy a bunch of Avlia, have your own little, oh my gosh, do you guys remember the old Tupperware parties? Wow, kind of dating myself here. But I feel like when I was a kid, it felt like every month somebody was having a Tupperware party. And we had a lot of Tupperware. Anyways, so kind of like that idea where you could basically get your Avlia and sell it as a little fundraiser for whatever your organization was. So that's something I'm working on. It should be out pretty soon, as well as maybe by tomorrow, maybe by the weekend. It's just going to depend on how the rest of my day goes today. The Avlia Forums. This is super exciting. I'm really, oh my gosh, so excited about this one. It's going to basically be kind of like a place on the Avlia website where you guys can show me pictures of what you're working on. So you can upload a picture. You can create your own little mini blog post. It's sort of like mini Facebook for the Avlia website. And I'm just super excited about that because of making stitching be part of this whole online community of people who are stitching in all different locales and really recreating that sense, even though we're doing it virtually in the 21st century, of, you know, people sitting in a sunny courtyard, stitching together and talking and sharing what they're working on and about their lives and things like that. So I'm really excited about that. That's tomorrow's project. So enough about like what's going on and all that. I thought I'd actually show you some actual stitching of what's been going on. So most of you are already aware that my new design, Kefalonia Carnations, just released, the pattern and the kits. This one was inspired by my friend Tracy Horner at Ink Circles, who I met at the 2018 Nashville Needlework Market. And she was like, oh, there's so many cool borders in Greek folk embroidery. You should do a sampler of those. And I was like, a sampler? And then I was like, oh, that's a really cool idea. So that's what I did. And then I topped it all off with carnations because I just love, oh my gosh, these little serrated carnations. They come up all the time in Greek folk embroidery. Oh my word, they're everywhere. And I just love them. They're one of my personal favorite motifs. I don't know about any of you. I also really like working them. I find them like really nice to work, to kind of get in that rhythm of working them. I just like them. I've used them in a lot of my designs. Celestial Peacocks, I think. Yep, Celestial Peacocks has them. Different designs have them. Anyways, but the whole idea behind this pattern was that it would give you tons of different little borders that kind of all look really cool together, but that would also work for lots of different applications. You could put something on, you know, a tote bag or on a kid's dress or a kitchen towel or a little bag for yourself or a little needle case or a bookmarker or whatever you can think of. You could even like just take all of these, just the border designs, and you could even just put them on a cushion cover. You could even confront them, which means basically you'd like say work from here to here, and then you'd like flip it and work from here to here again. And that could be really cool as a cushion cover design. And then I also worked it in a coordinated color palette so that you could swap out the color palette that you want. So if red's not your thing, swap out blues, swap out purple, swap out greens, yellows, whatever you're really in the mood to stitch. Maybe what you have in your stash. This would actually be a really great stash buster because, you know, I was making up the kits just a few minutes ago, and pretty much everything in there, let's see, the one color you need 15 yards of, but all the other ones you need 7 or less. So it'd be an awesome way to use up like little 8-meter skeins of DMC that you might just have laying around. So that's the Kefalonia Carnations. And you will notice too, people, I just have to say, did you notice that it's framed? And like, I'm not usually a huge fan of framing them, but I really like this one framed. So I could also see this one finished as a wall hanging, which could be really cool. But I really love the framing part. And actually I've been like kind of just putting it in different places around the workshop just so I can enjoy looking at it. The next, I'll just talk a little bit more about some of the next designs that are coming up. Oh, rats, I forgot to grab Cypress Grove, and I'm all plugged into the microphone. Cypress Grove is coming up really soon. It is a beautiful design with cypress trees that comes from a historic bridal shawl. Bridal shawls were these head coverings that they would give to the bride to wear. She'd wear them on her wedding, and then it would be like her very special head covering that she'd wear for feast days and special occasions. And because a shawl, if you think about it, over the head, you have this beautiful spot here where you can like display wide bands of embroidery. So a number of the designs I've been working on lately have come from bridal shawls and folk costume. And that's a whole area that I'm exploring, and really, wow. I mean, it's just a whole nother level of folk embroidery, because things displayed on folk costume are often displayed in a slightly different way, or borders might be used in a different way, because like say on a sleeve, the sleeve ends. And so you don't want to have a design that goes beyond or looks weird. So you've usually got to have a very, very strong bottom horizontal line on things that like are in folk costume. So you can play around with that. And I can play around with that by like putting one piece there and then like, again, confronting it, like flipping it, mirroring it, or just using one and then, you know, turning it into a square or things like that. So that's been really fun to kind of explore the whole world of folk costume, as well as the, you know, as an adjunct really to the world of folk embroidery. So the next designs that are coming up, well, Corinthian bridal shawl, which I featured in the last floss tube and is actually probably one of my personal top 10 favorites that I've ever stitched. That's going to be coming out in just a couple of weeks. I just need I need an afternoon so I can make the cushion backing kits, because those will come with an additional upgrade if you want it to buy the same cushion backing fabric that I used from Robert Kaufman that I used in the sample. So those are coming probably early October. Cypress Grove will release after that. And then this one that I'm very excited about. Over the years, many of you have bought a Aegean Octagon. Aegean Octagon was a table runner design that I did very, very early on. It was one of my very first designs, and I still offer it as a table runner and as table mats. So it comes in 2 sizes, and it's one of these all over runner designs. I actually love it. I have it actually sitting in my dresser in my bedroom. Like, I see it every morning when I get dressed, and I love that one. And I've been wanting for a long time to do another design like that, but in a different color with different repeat, just something a little different. And this is where Noxos Lattice comes from. So this is the newest one. You can see it's a nice big size. This is like, I think it's over 100 yards of floss. It's a lot. And my young friend Ksenia, who is an amazing stitcher, literally, I am telling you, this girl, this thing comes back and literally the fabric looks brand new. In fact, it almost feels like the fabric looks better than when I took it off the bolt. I don't know what she does. I asked her, she said all she does is she uses Thread Magic floss conditioning, if ever any of you use that. I just got some. I'd never heard of it. I'd always use like a candle or beeswax, but I really do like the Thread Magic stuff. I'm sure for a lot of you that's like totally old hat. But so this is Noxos Lattice. Now I'm going to get a little bit closer so you can see the design. But this is one that is incredibly easy. Let's see, how can we do that? So you can see that. It's just little diamonds, little squares, and a little trellis that connects them, and then an outer border. So what this means is you just work a little small corner of this in your hoop, and then boom, you're good to go. You can set that pattern aside and just keep on trucking. I love these kind of designs in a single floss color because they're awesome for meditative stitching. They're simple, they're easy to follow, and they really give amazing results. I really love this one. I put it on the entryway this morning to photograph it for the pattern, and I was like, ooh. I put it out with brass candles, and I tried it with a vase of flowers, and it just looks awesome. I'm thinking about releasing this one, not just in this color, but I'm thinking about adding an option to where you can request the color of DMC floss based upon the DMC floss colors I have available to me. So I thought that'd be kind of fun. So like if red's not your thing, well then you can have it in blue. If blue is not your thing, you could have it in green. You could have it in black. You could have it in brown. You could have it in the 317 pewter gray, which is that like amazing kind of bluey gray color that I've just been in love with for years. So I'm thinking about doing that. I think that might be a really cool way to go, because since we have to wind 100 yards of floss, we'll make these kits up basically as orders come in. I won't make like 20 of these and just set them around because it's just so much floss. This is also on the traditional ground cloth. Ooh, sorry I didn't show that. And it also was the piece that's shown in the new little tiny video about traditional ground cloth that's on the store product page at the Avlia website for traditional ground cloth. I realized that it would be helpful to have a video to kind of see the fabric in live time, so I just added that this morning. So Noxos Lattice, that'll be coming up pretty soon. Not exactly sure when, but soon. And then the next one that came in, which I was super excited about, this one I love. I've been wanting to stitch this one for a long time, and it was actually kind of hard for me last year to like be, okay, I'm really stitching overcommitted and I have to give this to a friend to stitch. But I did it. Aren't you proud of me? And so this one is stunning. So this one I'm calling Atavarian Star and Vine. Many of you have seen it actually as a pomegranate collection pattern. I decided to work it in a new, more modern colorway. So this is worked in 317 pewter gray. There it is again. and 3032 medium mocha brown, which it says mocha, but it's just such a much more complex color than like mocha. I think mocha, and I think about like the mocha that my husband makes for his breakfast every morning, and it doesn't look like that at all. It's just this lovely color. 3032, one of my faves. This design is actually very similar to the kind of designs that were worked on bed tent curtains from the Isle of Rhodes. And even in Kos, both of those islands had a very strong bed tent curtain tradition where they would have these great big motifs and they would basically embroider them in strips. And then they would sew all those strips together. So one of these bed tent curtains could literally have like 30 of these. The mind boggles. This one, I think, I've got to look at the stitch count, but I want to say it's around like 8,000 stitches. I mean, this is no lightweight. Now, I am planning to finish this as a wall hanging because I think it would look amazing, but it would also look beautiful framed. This, to me, is another one that would look really amazing framed. I had my friend work it on the Legacy linen in the Victoria sponge cake. I am currently working on sourcing some different linens. Kind of excited about that. I will keep you all posted. But I am right now a girl on a mission to try and find the old, something like, I'm actually working on having a mill make me the old version of Legacy linen, the Dower linen. If you guys know what I'm talking about. The old one like had heft to it. It was actually, I only have like a few kits left in it. The Miriam's Garden, I think there's like 2 or 3 kits left in that. And then the Byzantine Rose Border, I think I have maybe 1 or maybe 2 kits left in that fabric. And then I have my personal stash, so just don't tell anybody. I probably still have a couple of yards of sunflower that I stashed away. And I've got a few more yards of the coconut macaroon. And I've been trying to debate if I wanted to do like a really special, like limited edition kit for that. Because it's beautiful fabric. It had this really amazing heft to it. And it washed beautifully. I have table runners that are probably 10 years old or older than I made on those. And I've washed after, you know, kids have spilled stuff on them and whatever, they've gotten dusty, thrown them in the wash. They wash beautifully. So I'm on a mission. I'll keep you posted. Believe me, when I can get in a linen that really, really, really meets my incredibly exacting and particular standards, I will let everybody know. Now, that's not to denigrate the Legacy linen. The Legacy linen is great, but I want to find that perfect linen that we can offer on the Avlia website. So just stay tuned for that. Let's see what else is going on. Well, oh, I know the other thing I did this morning, so stay tuned and watch for this, is when I was taking photos. Hang on, let me see if I can, with my microphone, go over here and pick it up. Oh, can I? Can she do it? Yes, she can. Okay. This has been one of my most popular designs. This is Celestial Peacocks. It's beautiful. It's actually based off of a pelmet for a bed curtain that's in the Benaki Museum in Athens. It's a design that you see in a lot of different research works on Greek folk embroidery. The peacock design, the urns, the cypresses, these are all symbols of resurrection. So it's a very heavily symbol-laden piece, which I just love. And I kept to the very traditional colorway of like terracotta, bright blue, and olive green. I really wanted this one to feel really traditional. And then you can see you've got your serrated carnations and like little, almost like little lotus flowers here. So the lotus flowers are probably a little bit of kind of like an Egyptian flavor that got thrown in at some point. So anyways, so I took new photos of this one. The photo on the kit, the photo on the website was before I really knew what I was doing with the camera. Wow, that's been a journey. But I got this new macro lens for my camera. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a macro lens. The people at B&H Photo, believe me, they are so sweet and so kind. I'll just give a shout out to them because they're amazing. They handle all of my crazy questions when I call them and try to explain how I'm trying to photograph fabric. They have been so helpful every step of the way. And anyways, so the guy there was like, you really need a macro lens. And oh my word, that macro lens has changed my life because not only the macro lens allows me to get really crystal clear clarity from a farther distance away, but it also has this very, very nifty little light ring that comes on the lens. So it throws more light onto the design and I'm getting way better photos. So pretty excited about that. And I have kind of a growing list of things that like I'd actually, different designs that I've done that I'd really like to actually upgrade the photos because I did them, you know, a few years ago when I didn't know as much, and I'm always learning. Let's see here. What else have we got going on? Oh, two more last things that I wanted to share with you in this floss tube. This is so exciting. So if you joined me last time, I mentioned to you that we were transitioning from hand stamping all of the embroidery hoop kits. Okay, this is not the cross stitch side of things, but this is on the embroidery side of things. And that we were going to transition to having them screen printed. Well, I just got the first batch back. I am so happy with these. So this is basically a piece of Kaufman Kona cotton that we used for the embroidery kits. I cut all these up. I take them over to my lovely screen printing place, which I'll tell you about in just a second because it's a really cool company. I feel really good about supporting them. And they figured out how to do a water-based ink that will not, it doesn't raise up on the fabric. So like it doesn't create a problem for your needle going through the fabric, which is like, that was like a big thing for me. I already got the sample, I stitched it, like it's so great. The great thing about screen printing is we get a perfect print every time. With the stamping, it is so hit or miss. And I love you all, but I don't love stamping fabric. I have decided that is something that I really, really don't love doing. And that if that was going to be something I had to continue doing, I had to find a solution because it is so time consuming. And how about anybody else? I hate doing something when it feels like, maybe I'll get the right effect and maybe I won't. You know, it's sort of a crapshoot every time. And you know, I just don't deal with that stuff very well at all. It's like, it's got to work every time because when I'm stamping, even when I'm stamping, and I was doing all the stamping, I tried having Georgia help me with the stamping. She can't quite get it right. She's 11, so she can't quite like figure out how to put the pressure on it. It's just trickier than tricky. So anyways, that was kind of off on a rabbit trail. But so the screen printing now, this is what we're doing for the screen printing, and they're working up all of my designs right now. Now, this company that's doing it is a company here locally in Salem, Oregon. They actually are they're literally a half mile from my house. They do job training for developmentally disabled adults. And so they have employees who are developmentally disabled, who have Down syndrome, who are on the autism spectrum, and they have a screen printing and embroidery side of the business so they can train them how to do on those kind of production jobs. And they have a cut and sew side of the business where they can teach them how to do professional sewing and things like that. So they do a lot of things like baseball caps and company corporate logo sweatshirts, and they do tote bags. They do lots of face masks and things like that. And when I went in and said, okay, I need a little help with this project, I had another project they were working on for me. They were actually cutting some canvas for me. I use these canvas interfacings when we make vestments. And when I had hand surgery last fall, I couldn't cut through the canvas very easily. So they helped me with a lot of this. And I was like, this is brilliant. So I actually thought I was just going to hire them to do the stamping because I was like, I can't do the stamping anymore. Please save me from the stamping. And they were like, wait, the guy that took one look at it, he goes, well, have you ever thought about having him screen printed? And I'm like, why no, I have never thought about that. So that was super exciting that they're all now going to be screen printed. And the great thing about it too, is the screen printing plates are 16 by 24, really big, which means that down the road, I can develop larger designs. I'm no longer limited by a 6-inch by 6-inch rubber stamp. So that's really getting me thinking about different things that I can be doing. And I'm actually working right now on sourcing linen for that so that we could be doing high quality cushion covers with a stamp design on linen. So I thought that would be really neat. All out of like historic textile sources, that kind of a thing. So it could be fun. And then, oh yeah, to wrap up, here's the last thing I have going on is, oh my word, I have a new all over design and I'm super excited about it. I've been wanting to get to this one for a while. And just because of all the sample stitching I've been doing for the magazines and things like that, this one kind of fell to the bottom of my pile. And now I got to start it and I am in love, people, in love. So I found this little tiny design, this little tiny Rosette motif, which I'm going to show you. Here, I'll actually just show it to you right now. I found it in one of my vintage Latvia needlework booklets that I picked up last year. And I was like, that is such a cool design. And so I started thinking, wait, you could go like super modular with this design. So that's what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is I'm creating this design that's all made up of these little tiny squares. You just keep working squares over. And what it'll be is this one is going to be a table runner design where the corners will be filled in and have more stuff here. And I've got a little outer border planned and things like that. And then I'm also going to offer a square version and a bit kit version because this is just so cool. And it creates, oh, did I put my, oh, hang on. Let me see if I can grab them real quick. I've got the charts to show you. Okay, so these are just my working charts, but to give you an idea, this is what it looks like. You get this totally amazing negative space created by those little blocks being done. I'm just loving it. And honestly, things have been so busy around here, I'm finding it so restful to just throw myself into a meditative stitching piece right now. It is just what I needed. And I'm using this new color that I got from DMC. Oh my word, I have a total new DMC color crush. This is, I can't remember, is it I think it's 3857, Dark Rosewood. Oh, this is my new best friend. I am using this in a ton of upcoming designs. It is this amazing shade of like, okay, when I was in high school, I had a pair. Okay, so I didn't grow up in a really well-off family or anything like that. And there was really very rarely ever a lot of money for clothes. So I think you can all guess like why I love clothes so much. Anyways, my biggest dream when I was a kid was to grow up and be able to buy nice clothes. So anyways, I had this pair when I was in high school and I'd have my first job. One of the first things I bought was I had a pair of Gloria Vanderbilt Cordovan Mary Jane T-strap shoes. Okay, is this taking you back, anybody? It was definitely the 80s. But man, I love those shoes. I wore those shoes probably for like 7 or 8 years until they literally could not be repaired anymore. And like even to this day, I almost wish I would have kept them and like put them in a little display case or something. I just loved those shoes. Those shoes just felt like essence of my soul, like in footwear. I loved them. Wore them everywhere. Was super broke in my late teens and early 20s, so literally wore them everywhere because I think they were one of like 2 or 3 pairs of shoes I owned. But they were this color. They were this gorgeous cordovan color, that color that's not quite brown, not quite red. No, it's just this lovely in-between color. I was going to say I could wax eloquent and go on and on about this color, but apparently I already have. So this is such a great color. And boy, does it look amazing on the traditional ground cloth. I mean, these two, they are just singing together. Okay, so I'm going to tell you kind of a funny woohoo thing. I don't know if I've ever told anybody this, but sometimes when I'm designing and I'm trying to figure out the colors, when I hit the right color, okay, I feel actually kind of silly even until I do this, but I'm going to do it. Why not? It actually makes me cry. So when I'm actually stitching and I lay down the right color and I just hit this point and I look at it, I'm like, oh, and it like takes my breath away and it makes me cry. I think, okay, I got the right color. That's the right color. And I feel that way about like 924 gray green, very dark. And I absolutely had that happen on this one. I had worked like 3 squares and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's perfect. So anyways, now you know a little secret about my design thing. You know, it's called the cry method. If it makes me cry, it's a good color. So anyways, let's see. That's about what's up in the whole world over here at Avlia. I expect September to continue to be a pretty busy month. And for those of you who are listening to FlossTube, just putting a little shout out there. You guys are the first people that I'm mentioning this to. And I probably won't really mention this on any of my other platforms, but I figure you should be rewarded. You know, you're 29 minutes into this video, so you should be rewarded. Don't forget that every November, Avlia has a site-wide sale that's 20% off everything site-wide for the whole month of November. We call it the Thank You sale. So I'm going to run that again this year because I'm still making kits. So yay-hoo. I want to thank everybody. So just for those of you who plan out your stitching and have a stitching budget, think about that November sale. That's coming in just like 6 weeks. Wow. Is November literally almost 6 weeks away? Wowza. Okay, one last thing. I know. So to my huge surprise, my how to make lined drapery panels video has gone, at least by My Lights viral. It's had over 52,000 views on YouTube, which is kind of surprising because it's really not that great of a video. I just actually had my husband do it with my phone while I was making drapes one day. I've had a lot of people ask me questions pertaining to that video. So I'm going to be doing a part 2 coming up soon. I'm going to talk about my iron. I'm going to talk about drapery hardware and anything else I think you might need to know for making drapes. So it'll sort of be a line drapery part 2. So look for that coming up too. And if you want to see kind of a window into the workshop and what I'm working on any given day, then follow me on Instagram. Krista M. West is my Instagram account. Sorry, it's just under my name. It's kind of confusing, but there you have it. So thank you so much for joining me today. As always, it is a delight to hang out with all of you stitchy folk. And as always, email me or message me on Instagram or reach out and watch for the new Avlia Forums. I think we're going to call it the Courtyard, which would be kind of fun. So thank you for joining me and happy stitching, everyone.